Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Vecna, Eve of Ruin, and we're getting into chapter 6. And I'm kind of going back a little bit here because I wanted to describe a particular section in more detail. I think I might have got one or two of the details out of order or in a different location, so I want to clarify. Okay, so we're in chapter 6, and we have met, and at this point, the characters have gone to the Peylon tree. Now, the Peylon tree is this super magical tree, and previously the rod of 7 parts was planted under the tree, and the tree was prospering. It was producing these Peylon fruits, and it was really doing well, right? And it's a huge, gigantic tree, and part of its ecosystem there is a Deadbark dryad. Now, this Deadbark dryad, it goes by the name of Gazaia. What's interesting is Deadbark dryads are usually evil, but the Deadbark dryad Gazaia that we meet here really doesn't present as evil. Or it could be simply that it's allying with the tree, and everything it's doing for the tree looks like love and looks like nurturing, which, that goes back to that, classic Star Wars scene where you have, you have the Rancor, and, the Rancor's job is to eat people, and, for the delight of Jabba. But he has this keeper who's like deeply upset when he dies. It's one of the most profound scenes in Star Wars, specifically in Return of the Jedi. And people talk about it outside of Star Wars, right? And, just a quick reminder that the stories we tell can change the world and show love in unusual places. And, and I'm convinced that Dungeons and Dragons can far surpass anything Star Wars ever did. And I think at this point, now that Star Wars is with, well, and I was about to say, now that Star Wars is with Disney, but the reality is the Acolyte is really fantastic. Not everything that Star Wars, Disney has done with Star Wars is good. Not everything that Star Wars has done with Disney is bad. The Acolyte is fantastic, and I would highly recommend it. Let me stay on target here. All right. So here's what happens. The Peylon tree has the rod of 7, one of the pieces of the rod of 7 parts planted near it. Lord Soth, evil Lord Soth, his people come, and they're like, they come and they take the piece. They dig it up and they take it. And Gazaia, this Deadbark dryad, does not fight, does not protect the Peylon tree, and it feels terrible about this. And this is Gazaia's this is Gazaia's secret. She's ashamed that she did not protect the Peylon tree. Lord Soth's supporters, they take the piece back to the vault, back to the Three Fires vault. Three Moons vault. They take the piece back to Three Moons vault. The Naturalists, Riffle's forces, the good aligned werewolves, right? The Blue Fire Wardens, they attack Three Moon vault, right? But they do it poorly, and they are easily rebuffed, and they take heavy losses, right? But now at this point, the Blue Fire Wardens have to retreat from the Three Moons vault. And where do they end up? They end up in Bitter Grass Fen. I got that wrong earlier. I think I said that they, yeah. So they are now trapped in Bitter Grass Fen, and they're trapped in one of their own, in a temple, I think one of the temples that they set up, right? Which then that brings up the question, are they druids or are they naturalists? Or is naturalist just a term for a bunch of druids with maybe some people in there who aren't druids? Good question, right? I do love that term naturalist. That's pretty good. It's a, I don't know why the environmentalists didn't pick that up. That's pretty good language, right? So the Blue Fire Wardens are now all trapped. The ones that survived are all trapped in Bittergrass Fen, and they are trapped by a Borthak, which is this gigantic like combination of a wolf and a pig. And this thing is battering the door down of the temple, and if it gets inside, it's going to eat and kill them all, even though they're werewolves, right? But can they transform if it's not the moon? So, that kind of makes sense that they would need help. But Riffle's secret is that he poorly planned this attack on the Three Moons Vault, and he feels very sorry for this. And don't forget, all secrets are a currency. They can be whispered to the multiverse, and you can get something for it, right? It's literally like Bitcoin, It's like gold. It's actually far more powerful than gold. It can give you a magical effect. So that is where we're currently at. Thank you for allowing me to back up and kind of add a little bit more detail here. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in my humble opinion on what the best parts of Chapter 6 are in Vecna, Eve of Ruin. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion on Vecna, Eve of Ruin, Chapter 6, or any other chapter you wish to discuss. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.